1.2 is here, and with it come two brand new unbelievably broken characters. Shoujo girl trapped in a shonen body and a mentally insane person. While Caesar has already proven herself to be one of, if not the best support in the game, Burnice is still in the waiting room for So yeah, she's gonna be here soon enough, I think. So now, that makes millions of gamers wonder if they should spend their hard-earned polychromes on this beer mom trucker Yoimiya. While we can't actually pull for her as of making this video, the new story quest, Toward the Inferno, allows us not only to see the extent of her kit, but also to test her out in-game alongside some of her best teammates. If your life's burning question is whether or not you should pull for our second actual anomaly unit, fear not, for I have you covered. In this video, I will go over her entire kit, uncovering everything there is to know, best team comps, W engines, disk drives, and playstyle. So strap in and let's burn some fuel, because this is the only Burnice guide you will ever need. But before we get into it though, I have spent 8 hours a day every day cooking up this video just for you guys, and I don't get paid for doing this at all. I do it literally just to entertain you guys. So if you found this video just a little bit helpful, please do consider liking and subscribing, as it motivates me immensely to keep going and just to keep pushing out the best content for you to watch. And besides, it only takes 1 second to do so. Anyway, sorry for yapping, let's test out this Pyromaniac. Starting off with the explanation of her kit. Bro, this is some heat. Using her EX special skills grants her ignition points. That's 2 ignition points per 1 single energy consumed, up to a maximum of 100 ignition points. She also enters a special state when holding down the EX special button, extending her damage window and being able to dodge in any direction, much like Juyuan. When she has all of her ignition points, she will enter her big PP damage state, also known as the fuel special state, which gives her a fiery 15% fire damage bonus. Now, when Burnice attacks an enemy with her charge attack, she will leave them roasted for a little bit, symbolized by this flame. And she can also jump straight into the extended version of her EX special skill just by comboing this move straight after the enhanced charge attack, which consumes a maximum of 35 ignition points. Hitting said enemy by another teammate triggers the Ember effect, consuming 8 ignition points and dealing 150% of Burnice's attack at most once every 1.5 seconds, and causing that sweet anomaly buildup. That actually gets boosted by an additional 75% thanks to her additional ability, which also makes burn last for 3 seconds longer. Worthy of mentioning is that this counts as EX special attack and assist damage, and while we don't have a support that buffs that specifically, it'll be really important to remember this later down the line, I guarantee you. Now, that's Burnice's kit, so let's move on to her best teams. Anomaly, Jane Doe. Good together? Maybe. Because Burnice gives absolutely nothing to her team besides off-field damage, it begs the question, how does she pair up with Jane Doe? Well, unsurprisingly, amazingly. Rat Lady's best teams were either Seth Rina or Seth Grace, leaving much to be desired for our third slot. Let me be the first to say, she absolutely clears both. Rina's pen bonus has always been underwhelming, and Grace's, well, Grace. So I cannot recommend this team enough. You could also swap out Seth for Caesar, and even though it sounds completely insane, and I can already hear you typing, well actually, Seth saved me and my family from a house fire and then gave me $2 billion as pocket change, so how can he be worse than Caesar? Unsubscribed, unliked, and uncommented, you fuck. Caesar is straight fire in any team she's placed, much like Burnice, and unfortunately, S rank better than A rank. Scary shit. But if you don't have her, you can replace her with Lucy as well if you wanted. Burnice is not a must pull for this team by any means, but she will ramp up the total damage by, well, undeniably a lot from my testing, making an already broken team even better. Moving on, you can always pair her up with, again, Caesar and someone like Soldier 11, or pretty much any DPS for that matter. She is so unbelievably flexible. The only thing that holds her back team-wise is the fact that her additional ability only activates when someone in the party has the anomaly specialty or is from the Sons of Caladan faction. Rest in peace, Popeye, or whatever his name was. This obviously makes her catered towards anomaly teams in general, but despite this, I found her to be just a really solid unit overall thanks to the extremely high off-field damage. And you can always use Piper if you don't have Jane. This is off meta, you can also use her as a main DPS if you really wanted, and while I wouldn't recommend doing this, if you wanted to do that, no one's gonna dox you, like I'm getting doxed right now by Seth fans. As for Burnice's preference in music, you're gonna wanna go for 2-piece Freedom Blues for that anomaly mastery, and Chaos Jazz 4-piece, as the set is quite literally made for her. It has everything you need, from the anomaly proficiency bonus from the 2-piece to the permanent 15% fire damage increase and 20% X special attack damage bonus, which, if you remember what I stated earlier, adds the type of damage that her embers do. And it also lasts for 5 seconds after you switch to the wearer, which is pretty much exactly how much uptime she requires. So yeah, it's her signature set, set, you're always gonna wanna go for this. If you don't have a good 4-piece yet, you could theoretically still go for 4-piece Freedom Blues or 4-piece Hormone Punk, but I really don't recommend it. Yes, it will be an okay placeholder for his signature set, but by no means should you actually go out of your way to farm these. As for the main stats and substats, it's actually pretty straightforward. On Drive Disc 4, you're gonna want Anomaly Proficiency, on Drive Disc 5, Fire Damage, and on Drive Disc 6, Anomaly Mastery. Also, for the substats, prioritize Anomaly Proficiency and then Attack Percent. Thank God you don't need crit rate, crit damage since she's an Anomaly unit, so we got off easy this time. Thank you, Hoyovers. In the end, it's too bad that the Drive Disc set is brand new, so we couldn't pre-farm for her a whole lot. I wish you guys good luck with that. Hey, let me know how that's going in the comments below actually. As for the engines that you're gonna wanna run on her, we of course have her signature, the Flame Maker Shaker, which is Mixer's and Shaker's cousin that nobody pays attention to. It's interesting that it gives you energy back. Maybe Burnice will have energy problems, but we'll see in the future when she's actually playable. Overall though, it has everything you need. Around like 4 billion attack, boost your EX special attack, so your off-field damage goes up by 70% when you have all the stacks in our off-field, which by the way are obtained through hitting enemies with an EX special attack. Oh, and also when you have 5 stacks, you get 50 anomaly proficiency, because why not? It's an S-rank engine. The next best W engine for her would be the Electro Lip class, because it gives you a solid 10% attack and 50% damage bonus when there's an enemy with an attribute anomaly on the field, which will be all the time. Now, do keep in mind that the R5 version of this is $50, and I honestly don't think it's worth spending that much money on this weapon, unless you simply really want to invest in Burnice a lot, but don't really have the polychromes for her signature, or maybe you simply want the resources from the battle pass and have no need for other BP weapon. The next best engine, in my opinion at least, would be the Weeping Gemini. It gives you a solid 30 anomaly proficiency whenever you inflict an attribute anomaly on the enemy, stacking up to 4 times. What's really unique about this is that it doesn't expire based on a timer, rather the stacks have an independent duration that expires once said hit enemy recovers from a stun or has simply ceased to exist. This can honestly be pretty tricky and annoying to play with, but the stats are really solid for a 4-star gacha weapon, so I would say use this if you know there's gonna be more than 2 enemies on the field. A weapon that I recommend and that I am personally gonna use is Rainforest Gourmet. It gives a 2.5% increase in attack for each 10 energy you spend, and even though it's gonna be hard to maintain the full extent of the buff permanently, I think it's a bit more consistent than Weeping Gemini, which doesn't actually necessarily make it better. It's gonna be really rare to have 100 energy to be able to spend it all, and even when you do, you're really gonna wanna spend it all at once, so ultimately what weapon you wanna choose is up to you. As for her best bang boos, Rocket Boo takes the cake easily, since it can deal the most fire anomaly build-up out of every bang boo that we have. You can also go for Bang Volver, because truly what you're looking for is just a lot of anomaly build-up, and in this case it's physical. That's the only thing that you're gonna be interested in. And also, don't fall into the trap of using Luck Boo. You might be looking at his anomaly build-up and say that it looks like a decent choice, but 90% of the times he will miss if the enemy isn't actually roped down to a chair. So yeah, that's pretty much all there is to know about the upcoming S-tier rank agent Burnice. I hope that this guide helped you, and if not, I at least hope that you found it somewhat entertaining. I know I'm definitely gonna pull, as she's literally one of my favorite characters in the game up to date, so yeah, a kind reminder for you guys that I work just insane hours to push out the best content for you guys, and I do it for free. So if you like this video and want to support the channel, all you have to do is click the subscribe and like button. It takes 2 seconds to do so, and it helps me out more than you can imagine. So tell me in the comments below what you think about Burnice. Will you be pulling for her? And what teams do you think she will excel in the most? I'd love to catch you guys down in the comment section below so we can start a discussion. Anyway, thank you so much for sticking to the end of the video. Until next time, take care, love you gamer.